the movies were a very important part of our lives. And my best friend at that time was an American-born Chinese boy named Louie, and their residence, and in the beginning it was a Chinese laundry, but he was my best friend. There's no question about it. I had different friends as I got older, but Louie and I had something in common. We both loved movies. And every Saturday we went to the movies during a certain age period. And we were what historians call front row kids. We sat in the front row of the theater. Now that means that we were looking mostly up, not straight forward, because of our position and where we were. And the cowboys were very important to us. And on one occasion, we were probably 7 or 8 years old. He was 4 months older than I was. And he was very Americanized. And we were watching Buck Jones or Johnny Mac Brown, or one of those early cowboy characters. And the bad guys wore the black hats, and the good guys wore the white hats. So even if you weren't too intelligent or savvy about which guys you're supposed to like, you could tell from the hats they wore. And one day we had, of course, you bought candy and different types of candy, but that's another subject. But I had a mouthful of Blackjack gum, which was a popular gum at the time. And there was a scene going on, and Louis says to me, "Do you know the good guys from the bad guys?" I said, "Sure, the guy right on he's sitting on the rock there, he's got the black hat on." He says, "I'll bet you can't knock his hat off with the blackjack gum you got." And I took that as a challenge. I said, "Oh yeah?" And I took the blackjack gum, and I waited for the right scene, and I threw it. What made me do that, only God knows. And all of a sudden, all the lights went on in the theater, and somebody must have seen what I did. And the ushers came running down to the front because people were pointing, and I wanted to blame him a little bit because he dared me to do it. And so the usher said, "Who did that?" And I looked at him, and he pointed to me, and the ushers couldn't decide, so they grabbed us by the scruff of the necks, and they took us, walked us up. It was very embarrassing because the movie wasn't showing, and the lights were on, and we were being blamed for something, and then the projection. Well, I don't know what they did about the hole I put in the screen, and I don't know what my father did about it either. But Mr. Hamilton was the manager of the theater, and he didn't know what to do with us. It had never happened before. So what he decided was he was going to call each of our fathers to come get us and let the fathers handle the punishment. He didn't ban us, as I recall, from coming to the theater the next week, but I remember Louis Yang's father, Lem, in his slippers, traveled across Franklin Square, and my father came down from the store, and each of us were escorted back to where we originated, and everything else is blank. I don't remember that I was punished. I don't remember that I was whipped for it. I knew that it was going to cost my father some money, so he couldn't have been very happy with me, and my mother couldn't imagine why on earth I ever did that. But it was one of the crazy things that I ever did as a kid.